up, and at various times in life, you kind of hear that phrase of find something you like to do. You're blessed if you can like your job. And I actually do. I really do. And Chris, I can't thank you and everybody there enough.
Appreciate that.
Just for the opportunity, not to be too preachy or sappy or anything, but it really has. It's changed my life, and I enjoy what I'm doing. And I actually had a broker. We just closed a good deal, and we had a conversation. We met face to face, and he said, "Do you wish you'd have done this earlier?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I wish I'd have done this 3 years back or
Right.
prior."
Right.
And just because it's changed my life, it really has. And I enjoy being able to say what I do and the fact that I enjoy it.
There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. People always say, Chris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words, hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Entrepreneurs in Finance, where we explore the daily lives of graduates, lenders, and everybody in between here. And welcome back, everybody. And before I begin, I just want to say, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Commercial Capital Training Group, so you can catch more episodes that we produce on a monthly basis. And in this episode, I'm very excited to interview Bill Aubin of Optiv Commercial Capital. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Chris, great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to chat with us here a little bit.
Excellent. I'm excited.
We have our Christmas edition, as you could see.
I like that. Yes.
Tree. So, in any event, Bill, tell me about. I know you had come through in January 2020. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, for the second to last live class.
Second to last live class. So at least you experienced us in person.
I did.
Tell me about. And you know what? I'm just noticing now you have our plaque up there. That's awesome.
I do.
Just that. Yeah. That is
right
cool.
behind me. I'm very proud of that.
It doesn't mean anything until you get that, right?
Exactly right.
All right. For those who don't know, we give these plaques out at the end of class that acknowledges that you've actually been here. So good to see that up on the wall. Take me through. First of all, you're out of Colorado, correct?
Correct.
What part of Colorado?
Just west of Denver, about 45 minutes. I'm in the foothills in Conifer, real close to Red Rocks Amphitheater. I'm not.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I've been there several times. Wow, you're close to that place.
10 minutes away. Absolutely. So next time you're here, let me know. So.
Wow. Okay. So are you kind of burned out from concerts? You're probably go. It's right in your backyard, right?
Yeah, when we first got here, we did it an awful lot. Now, a little bit older kids, life, things like that. We don't do many concerts, but nice to be close by. It's a good landmark to tell people. I get down to Denver, but we're in a pretty small town up here, somewhat removed from the city, down the hill, so to speak.
Probably a good thing these days. But all right, that's awesome. That's a beautiful area of the country. What did you do prior to CCTG? What was your career?
I spent grew up in Florida, went to college, moved here, and spent probably 25 years in the industrial uniform rental industry. So I worked for a national company, I worked for a local company, and I did everything in there, from training to account management to negotiating contracts, customer relations, quite a few different jobs throughout. But I spent a lot of time working with business owners, people, managing things like that. Exposed to an awful lot of things, but ultimately it was time for a change. So.
Time for a change. Is that an exciting job?
It has.
Find it as exciting?
There's a lot of stress to it, because people don't realize you kind of take the industry of industrial uniforms is people don't even know it exists, from your local car wash. Sorry, I'm going to name drop, but the Coors Brewery. We had small, large, Denver International Airport. People got to have their uniforms or they can't work. So there's an awful lot involved in that.
A lot of stress. Okay.
Aside from the safety and the PPG, all the other things.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. So you just kind of, I guess, and if I'm safe to say, or am I correct in saying that you were just kind of burned out? You kind of ran your course.
Yeah, that's really the best way to say it. 100% honest, Chris, was sitting around the dinner table at night and the kids ask how the day was, and I have to tell them great, and it wasn't. And it got to the point where it was okay. And my wife said, you've been looking at doing this for 3 years now. Are you going to ever do it? And really, I did. I talked to Mike, for many times. I
Oh,
talked to an awful lot of
you mean you were
people.
looking to do this? So you
Yes,
were looking at us for 3 years prior.
yes,
Yeah.
yep, for an awful long time till I finally pulled the trigger and said, "Okay, it's time. It's time for something different." So,
Time for something different. And that was in January. Okay.
mm,
And you came in, you purchased our gold package, correct?
yes, correct.
Yeah, you purchased our gold package. So you made the leap in January. Talk to me about the emotions that you were feeling the day before class and then maybe when class started.
Oh my goodness. The funny is I actually booked my flight a day early. So I was in Albany a whole day earlier. I wanted to get there. I walked around, spent a lot of time, just still couldn't believe that I had actually done it after all the time of looking into it. So,
Yeah.
so emotions were pretty high. I was excited in that, that nervous excitement, like you get before I don't know, a trip, anything like that, realizing this is changing my life. Okay. I talked to so many people, researched everything on the website, all the obscure things that I probably couldn't even go back and find now. There's so much information. What the podcast wasn't out, but I
Right.
watched, a ton of the YouTube videos, talked to
Testimonials.
people,
Yeah.
reached out to some local brokers that had gone through the training even. So I felt like I knew about as much of it as I could, but still I didn't know what the heck I was getting into. So that was the day before. And it was just exciting. You jokingly say that all the time. It's like it's kind of a relief to get here. Yep, the class is here, the building's here, everything is real.
Mhm.
um, but after that, it was just such a sense of, okay, I finally made the commitment, I'm leaping, let's do it, let's go in 100%. So
Okay. Yeah. So that Monday hits. Obviously, you realize we're real. We have we have people. We have an office. We have all these things. But throughout that week, talk to me about the emotions going through that week each day that goes by.
yeah, absolutely. And it really was an exciting thing. Again, it was so much information. And I think I've kind of fit the cliche, I guess, or maybe typical of every time someone presents, you have a new package, you have a new lender, you have a new opportunity. It's like, great, this is it. This is the one I'm going to focus on. And then later in the day or the next day, as the week progresses, I'm like, okay, I like this one. I like this one. You just kept getting
The
excited because
business plan
there's,
keeps changing for you, at least
oh
that
my
week.
gosh, so many opportunities. So again, it was a ton of information and researching the notes every night and trying to retain as much as I could. um, it was an overwhelming sense of, who do I know, what can I do, who am I contacting first, how do I what fits me, what fits my geographical area, really trying to look at the potential, I guess, while all the information is being presented through a
So,
fire hose.
is it safe to say you were overwhelmed by the end of the week when you went home? You're like, what?
Absolutely.
You don't know what you're going to concentrate in, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you think you're going to do everything because everything was so appealing.
Mhm.
And of course, you said, you kind of gave us, don't try to do everything to everybody at one time, which is the best advice ever. But it's hard too, though, Chris, because you don't know, or for me, I shouldn't broad brush, but it's really hard to know, what do I want to focus on? I like all of this, and I didn't know enough to know better. So,
Sure. So 30 days after training, that first month, you obviously went home. You spoke to your wife, I assume, right? Yeah,
yes, correct.
and your family. And so, talk to me about that first 30 days. Was it fun, exciting,
Um,
confusing?
It was a lot of that time. I actually did. I took your advice and reread through all my notes, and really tried to get the business part of it set up.
Right.
I mean, all the website stuff, the emails, the cards, the what groups do I want to be a part of? Who do I know currently versus who do I need to meet? And really, a lot of that was. I don't want to say analysis, just really a post, reinforcing, re-emphasizing my first couple phone calls and leads that you sent. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm not ready for this. And I had all the information, but it was just that kind of nervous. It wasn't comfortable
Sure.
until I got to practice it more. But I really it's funny, someone jokingly referred to me as the introvert in one of my little leads groups that I'm in right now. She's like, yeah, you're the introvert until you start talking about what you do. And I realized I do get passionate and emotional, and it was really trying to listen to what the clients say and really drill down on what was needed. So that's what I was working on through a lot of that.
No, and I think we're all born into this world as introverts, but it takes experiences to get us out of that, right? So
Mhm.
this could be it for you. I mean, historically you're an introvert, but if you're passionate about something, it shows, and that pushes past that wall of introvertedness, if that's a word. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Um, so okay, yeah, that's a natural thing. And we always say, right, that instinct, you get better and better and more confident. You simply have to just look at more deals. And each deal that you go through, each opportunity that you see, you're gonna get better and better at it. Right. Would you agree with that? And you're
Absolutely, definitely. Now I jokingly think, okay, I can't believe the opportunity that I had, and I didn't know what I was doing.
yeah,
Um, Now I'm much more comfortable. I mean, there's still sometimes a little bit of preparation I think is needed, but I
right.
don't feel that sense of what if they ask me this and I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. You get more and more polished as time goes on. So I have to ask, and I've interviewed many graduates that have come from actually probably even your class. I don't know who yet. I can't think of who, but I know right around that January, February, March, we've interviewed a bunch of graduates. We call them the right before the world ended class, group of people. Um, so tell me about how you feel well, first of all, when did you do your first deal? Like, what was your first deal, money in the bank?
Yep, first deal was probably 2 months after class. It was the end of March, and it was actually someone local, someone that I knew, local car dealership. He had a couple of things that were happening. He just needed some cash real quick to get through to the end of the month, basically.
Like an
So it was
MPA
just
deal?
yeah, exactly, just a quick MCA, fairly small. It was a ten. I'm sorry, $10,000, just under, and he needed it really quick. And it was someone I had known for a long time. And it was interesting too, because the first person that committed, everything was set, term sheet was going out tomorrow. And that was the day that COVID just got catastrophic, because I got a call first thing in tomorrow morning, hey, we can't fund this deal anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute, I already committed, everything was set, and it was due to, lockdowns, things are happening. So fortunately I had a backup. And it was nice little check, and just to be able to say, okay, there's money in the bank. And
Yeah.
then to your point, the world changed. So
World changed. Yeah. So I know for a couple of months lending got tight a little bit through some sectors, particularly real estate, but um what were you thinking? I mean, here you invested in an opportunity, you're excited, you're getting things rolling and boom, you know, the world that
yeah,
and
and it's interesting too, Chris. My wife and I had that conversation too, where on one hand, yes, this was a terrible time. On the other hand, it was a great time, because it really went from the deals, the people that I were talking to were growing their businesses. There were things that were happening, people were expanding, there was a lot going on. And then it really became a quick shift to keep the doors open. Um, and fortunately, I got exposed to quite a few PPP opportunities. So I was able to help a lot with those, and really got to meet quite a few more. I think it really increased my pipeline, so to speak, my network, just through local people and banks and things. People were connecting me to help them with that. So that got me through. Um, and really, there was not any real deals until probably December. Things started happening again. So that was an awful long time to go from March till December
so
with
you
any real.
did you gravitate towards PPP stuff? You
I
started
did.
doing some
I
PPP
did.
loans, right? Okay. Yep.
Yes,
Yep, yep,
correct.
yep, yep. So you kind of morphed. I mean, that's where a lot of graduates had to do, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they went where the most opportunity was, and at that point, it was PPP. I mean, every month you heard about PPP.
Exactly. And that's what people were asking for. People just out of the blue. I mean, a lot of my leads that came through, and people that I was connecting with were that, that's what they were inquiring about. So I think we
Sure.
almost had to adapt to that.
So then, pandemic kind of evens out, and things start getting back to normal, and so and you start kind of getting back to your regular core book of business. I would assume, right? I mean, you start getting opportunities and deals.
Correct. Yeah. And I do. I remember it was almost like a switch. It was mid-December, and all of a sudden things were happening again. There was a lot of activity. Lenders were constantly saying there's new things. We've loosened some of the restrictions, some more opportunities, and quite a few people were reaching out again with the plans they had for the new year, looking for funding.
Good. And I mean, and it seems like you've had a fairly decent 2021.
Mhm.
You know, the deals that you've closed in 2021, are they more on the business side, real estate side, or just in between?
No, I'd say most of them have been on the business side.
Okay.
A couple working capital lines of credit, a couple business acquisitions. Um, Startups, I've done quite a few 7As, got quite a few of those that have happened. And actually, it was surprising to me how many acquisitions were happening. So there was quite a few of those that were going on. Some real estate, some non-real estate, factoring deal, and then just recently shifting more into the real estate side, more straight commercial real estate. So it's been a mix, Chris. I wouldn't say I'm still really narrowly focused down on this is it. These are the two or three things that I offer, but I'm not, here's my 27 things that I can do for you.
Yeah,
Pick a
no.
card. So
Yeah, right. And so I have to ask the question, how are you where's this business coming from? What activities are you doing to that you may have learned from class that's generating business for you right
sure, that's a great question because initially I had a dead set. Okay, I'm going to be walking into banks. I'm going to be talking to people. I'm going to physically be in person in front of people,
now?
and
Right.
we really didn't have that. I mean, it's kind of transitioned away from having that ability. So I got real active with both my local chambers in my town and the town next to me, which are both fairly small towns, but I've had an incredible amount of success just through them, either directly or with people that they know. Just recently joined a BNI group, and that's gone great. And it really, um, I just try to focus on who are my core people. And we mentioned 80/20 rule in class, and I really, I take that to heart. I think, okay, 20% of my business, my referrals, my everything, um, comes from, or I'm sorry, 80% comes from that
80%. Yeah.
20%. And,
Right.
and I drill it back even more. And I say, okay, from that 20%, take the top 20% of that. So now you've really narrowed it down to the top 4%, produce the top 67%. So that's who I want to focus on, the 20% of the 20. So
Sure.
I have a great business broker. I have a great SBA lender. I have a great commercial realtor and a residential realtor. And I don't want to say just that's my four, but that is my top four that I
That's your
keep in
top
my,
4. Yeah.
what's going on today? How are you doing? That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
you're I mean, those are your assets, so to speak, and you
Mhm.
wanna just protect those assets and be nice to those assets and check in with
Well said.
right? Um, so but really it comes down to you being active in your community, and what I say, going out to people who are centers of influence to business owners
Hmm.
and getting them, explaining who you are, networking getting them to send you business, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like you're practicing kind of what we at least try to preach. And what's interesting is, so most of your business comes from your local community.
I would say so. Yeah, probably 90%. I have a little bit around the country, California, Michigan, Florida, that kind of thing. But I think I'm a little bit of an anomaly. Most every week we kept up. Sorry, I'm jumping, but we kept communication with everyone in our class, everyone that graduated together. We had a WhatsApp group, and we do Zooms together, and we just reach out what's working. And I think there's a little bit of surprise that I do so much local business, but it's just the nature of my area. It's just how it's worked out here.
Yeah, and it is kind of an anomaly. I can tell you from where I sit, most people, 70% or so business comes from outside their local
Hmm.
area. But then again, there's variables, right? I mean, if you're doing constant lead generation, internet lead generation, you're going to get that. You're going to get things
Right.
all over the country. You're particularly not doing that. At least I don't think you are,
Correct.
because you're a gold. So, but hey, either way works,
Right.
it really does. Either way works. Having been in this business now for a little bit, 2 years, what do you absolutely hate about the business?
um, I would say for me, it's really just the waiting game, the waiting process, developing the patience because I want to go, go, go. And it just seems like from the time you get a client on board and docs are being shared, but still you're waiting for more from them. You're waiting for the lender, you're waiting for the SBA, you're waiting for just there's always that, okay, I want to go from I start till I'm done and I'm going to close this right away and it's going to be a done thing. And it's 6 to 9 months sometimes, not always, but depending on the nature of the deal and the client and things like that. So that the waiting as well as it's a little bit of a roller coaster. I think it is it's a sales game. You get excited about the big deals and then you have the letdown and I hope I get approval tomorrow and that kind of thing. So there's an emotional component to it, I think, that can be a little
This business can be an emotional roller coaster.
it can be challenging.
It can be challenging, and I've been in it so long. I mean, even today, not, in today's age, I still it's still an emotional roller coaster for
Hmm.
even certain things that we're working on here,
Right.
or deals that we're working on with our own company. So I get it. And that, by the way, that never leaves, you know,
Thanks.
that, yeah, that's just, it is, you have to learn how to manage it. That's the best advice I can give to you.
Right.
It happens. You have to, as much as I always love to say you can't get emotional about deals,
Hmm.
I still break that rule. I get
Right.
emotional about deals all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a never ending quest to try to perfect that, you know?
And I agree, and that is good advice, though. I mean, and part of it too is the fact that these are local people. These are, I don't do very many things that are just over telephone and computer. I'm seeing them. They're in my community. I'm going to meet them. We're going to have, coffee or cocktails, whatever it is.
Right.
And so I do get a little more emotional attached. I've been called someone's BFF. I've been called a family member because we spend so much time together. And so it is.
You
There's that
haven't been called an
emotional.
asshole yet, have you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you have? All right. Yeah.
Yeah, because all I asked for was for documents. He didn't want to send me anything to prove that he was a company, so I was an asshole. I'm like,
So you're
really?
yeah, so you're an asshole, right? Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
oh yeah,
How that works? Yeah.
that's how that works.
Um, yeah, and that's the other part of it too, right? I mean, sometimes people are just, you could only do your job to the best of your ability. And sometimes people just are, borrowers can be unreasonable. We all know this, right?
Absolutely, it's the world. It's how serious do you want to take it, and just deal with it. Do your best and go from there. So.
Yeah, go from there. What do you love about the business compared to like what's the fundamental different before you answer that question, here's another one. What's the biggest change about this business than in the business you were in before
Oh wow.
that you experience?
Ultimately, I would say just the internalization. It's me. It's
Mhm.
my business. I mean, granted, it's
Mm,
people that I work with and things like that, Chris. But um, all seriousness aside, it's allowed me to have such a better quality of life. Previously, I could never take off more than 1 week vacation time. There's just
mm,
if you weren't there to do your job, someone else has to do it, and that was it.
right.
Whereas now, I, I mean, a phone and a computer, and I can work from anywhere. Yes, I like to be in front of people. I like to be local, things like that. But just to have that convenience, and my kids jokingly, we were camping, and I was on a phone call, and they it's like, Dad, how come you're on a phone call? And I said, well, I've never been able to take 2 weeks off before, so this is kind of the give and take. I'm going to spend 2 hours in the morning doing what I need to do, but yet I was still there for the rest of the 22 hours of that day.
Mm.
So I'd say really the fact that it is me. It's my rules, it's my success, but at the same time, 100% of the earnings, the revenue, the good is 100% me. I'm not sharing that with
Corporate.
all the ancillary parts of a typical company, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. All right. And
flexibility.
what do you love about the business itself? Like what's your best I asked you what's the most what do you hate about it? What do you love about it besides what you just talked about?
Sure. And I know it's a cliche and we hear this all the time, and there's really to be able to help people, and it's just such a rewarding thing to say congratulations. You're helping people realize their dream. It's either to stay in business, to grow their business, start their business, whatever it is, and that's just such a great feeling. I mean, it's a with the tree behind you, it's the Santa Claus moment of congratulations, we're able to do something that somebody else wasn't able to do, and that is just an absolute great feeling.
Isn't it? And especially when like
Incredible.
I know I don't get a chance to meet borrowers that my own company finances a lot. Um Maybe really large deals that we do, I'll meet the borrower, but the thing that always gets me when I'm have the pleasure to see it from this vantage point is when you know that you provided, let's say, $500,000 to a company for working capital, and then you somehow stay in contact with them,
Mhm.
and it could be via email or in person, and then you find out, they hired 25 more people, you know, and so that's what I love about the business, right? Because now it's
Absolutely.
like, wow, okay, with that capital it was actually used the way it was supposed to be used, and now 25 people have a job,
Yes.
which and I can tell you that's the being in the business, that's the feeling that never yeah, it just compounds. Like, yes, you did good, you helped the borrower, but then
Right.
the effects of that money going to use and put to work and the amount of jobs created or allow that company to move up to the next level, it's gratifying.
Exactly. Yeah. And really, I can't think of a better thing. And when we were growing up and at various times in life, you kind of hear that phrase of find something you like to do. You're blessed if you can like your job. And I actually do. I really do. And Chris, I can't thank you and everybody there enough. Um,
Appreciate that.
just for the opportunity, not to be too preachy or sappy or anything, but it really has. It's changed my life, and I enjoy what I'm doing. And I actually had a broker. We just closed a good deal, and we had a conversation. We met face to face, and he said, "Do you wish you'd have done this earlier?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I wish I'd have done this 3 years back or
Right.
prior."
Right.
And just because it's changed my life, it really has. And I enjoy being able to say what I do and the fact that I enjoy it.
How's your family put up with your new job now being, I mean, are you at each other's throats because you work from home, I take it, or no?
It's funny you say that. There were some moments. My wife's a teacher, and my kids were home from school. So this summer, I'm like, I'm going to the office. I can't work from home, and and I pretty much split. My office is seriously 5 minutes from my house.
Oh,
It's
so
in
you
our.
do have an office then?
I
Okay.
do. Yeah, I'm in the office
Okay.
now. It's in our Chamber of Commerce building, so
Oh,
that's
okay, gotcha.
super
I thought you were
convenient.
at home. Okay.
No, no, this
Okay.
is an office I could show
Cool.
you around,
Yeah.
but no, I internet's not so good. We're in the mountains at my house, so I'd get much better reception here. But yeah, during the summer, I'm like, I'm going to the office. I'm not trying to even work from home because everybody's there. And but no, they love it. And I think sometimes my wife thinks I don't work, because I have the flexibility to, yes, I can take someone to where they need to be and do what I need to be. I'm
Yeah.
the boss, so to speak, even though it's still her.
Sure.
But no, it's been a great thing for our family. It really has.
Yeah, that's good. I personally hate working from home. I feel
Really?
like I'm missing out.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on things. I'm just kind of on an island, and so I particularly don't do well from working at home.
Right.
Only if I need to be home for some specific reason I would, but yeah, I
That's
I
funny. I would touch on that real quick, Chris. My wife asked recently where I felt more productive, and there's times where, yeah, okay, there's too much snow, there's whatever. I'm going to work from home today, but I feel more productive here. But the thing about being at home is, okay, after dinner, I'm going to go work for 2 hours. I'm going to get up at an hour early before I go to the office. There's no real set hours I feel when I'm at home versus the office. It's a little bit more of that 9 to 5, even though that doesn't exist. But you know what I mean. I have to kind of break that spell sometimes when I'm at home to not force myself to work just because I can.
yeah, and the other side to that is, when you're working at home, I mean, you don't treat it like an office. You treat
Agreed.
it like home, right? And sometimes other people in your family don't treat it like it's your office.
Exactly.
Case in point, you have kids and etc. So it could be challenging.
Yeah.
Um, well, it sounds like you're doing well, and I wish you continued success heading into 2022. You have any goals or aspirations for 2022 that you kind of set for yourself in your business?
I do. I would say, really to get better at what I'm doing. I do want to kind of tighten some of the opportunities a little better. I just had a real good real estate deal, so I definitely want to push a little bit more to that. I think I've been spoiled a little bit, um, and want to expand on that a little bit more. Really, just to get to know more, looking at other investment opportunities. A lot of people are coming to me looking for equity partners, and just kind of realizing how many other opportunities are out there. Um, just really trying to broaden the horizon and lifelong learning, continue the education, and get better at what I'm doing.
Okay, all right, yeah, that sounds like a good group of goals there to work towards. Um, did you? And I apologize if you were there or not. Did you go to NACLB recently or
I did
no?
not. I was hoping to, Chris. I had two closings that week, and it was just, which is a good reason to miss. I
Yeah,
did want to go initially. I was scheduled to, and then I had to back out. But
back out. Okay,
definitely
yeah,
next year,
no
I'm
problem.
planning
Yeah,
on it.
well,
So,
well, hopefully we'll see you next year. All right, so now we come to this time in the podcast where you could. I always allow our guests to ask me anything you want, and it doesn't have to be business related. It could be personal. It could be anything you want.
okay. No, and I appreciate that. Yeah, and I like hearing about, and I love this segment, and I like when you do these, and I've listened to quite a few. I've heard about cars and driving and your schooling and history. So
Yeah.
sorry if I'm spoiling it for other people. But one thing that I've always kind of wondered about, was there a time in your transition, I guess, to getting where you're at now, did you ever, like, what was the moment that was the catalyst for doing everything that you're doing now? Like, did you say, I can teach brokers to do this so they can learn to do this without going through the pains that I went through? And I'm not really doing the question right, but was there, because at some point in time you had to have that feeling of, I can teach other brokers to be better at this.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's so sure, that's an easy one. There was a time where, um, I had my business up and running, obviously, my own brokerage business, which ultimately led to a lending company, which I have now. So we do both, right? We do brokered loans, but there was a time where, a couple of other brokerage firms, a friend of mine owned one down in Atlanta, and he said, "Hey, can I hire you to train?" This is way before CCTG, to train other brokers that he was bringing on, his staff. Can you teach them kind of, because he saw the model of Prime, which that's what CCTG is based off of, the model of, having all these products and being a one-stop shop. So he asked me, I'll pay you to come down for 2 days or so. It wasn't like an official CCTG. That wasn't even in existence. I thought to myself, I actually, I ignored him the first time because it wasn't of importance to me. But then he kept pestering me and I said, okay, fine. What are you going to pay me? Right. And he goes, I'll pay you this. And I said, all right, well, all right, why not? And I went down and I trained in his conference room, these salespeople. And I walked away that day finding something that I never thought I had the ability to do, nor would I love to do. And that was kind of educate or train other people from that experience. If you would have told me I'd be training people at that time like we do now, I would have said you're out of your mind. But I walked away with that, and so that gave me the burning desire to start doing this, along with some other things that contributed to that. One of which is that we used to ask people all the time that came to my firm, other brokers that would want to co-broker deals, how'd you get in the business? And most of them, and the reason we'd ask that because they didn't know what they were doing, and we quickly realized that. And some of them said they went to another training company, which at that time there was only one in existence. And there's still only one in existence, in my opinion. The other ones are kind of chop shops, but in any event, and so we knew that told me that even though they went to this other training that existed back then, they still weren't being taught how to conduct themselves. There were basic things that they were lacking in terms of understanding the deal itself. So that told me there was an opportunity. Plus, I liked teaching from my experience with, educating, being hired to train other individuals. And so that was kind of a big catalyst for me to say, you know what, I'm gonna go out and create a training company the way I see fit, the way I see that's needed in this industry, and do it the right way.
Right.
And so that was kind of the origins of how that took place. In 2009, CCTG started.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
was just curious. I didn't know,
I
not
I
like we,
I wish I could, I always tell people I wish I could sound a lot smarter and say I had this vision of this training company. No, I actually got dragged into it by mistake of somebody saying, "Can you train, some salespeople?" And I ignored it, and finally I just went with it, and then that, kind of opened my eyes up a little bit.
wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
No, that's good.
yeah.
I didn't know how that ever worked, and good
That's
to
how it
have that.
happened. That's how it happened. Um,
Excellent.
anything else? Anything else that's on your mind?
This kind of maybe feeds into that just a little bit. And was there, and you mentioned, you kind of alluded to the fact that some people didn't really know what they were doing. Is there something either in your specific history or maybe in other people, whatever you think is the best answer, um, where brokers spend X amount of time doing something where they should be doing something else, or maybe some missed opportunities that you had? Because I was like, man, I was smiling and dialing them, but not out meeting people, or I spent too much time, you know, I don't know. And I know there's no, and you say it, it's hard work and dedication. I get that. Well, I know there's not a bam, if you do this, you'll be successful. Um, but is there kind of a don't do this type thing, Chris? Again,
I
I'm
mean,
thinking of the question as
I
I'm
see
asking.
that's fine. I see a lot of brokers, um, they worry about the wrong things
Hmm.
at the wrong time, right? For instance, I'm very qualified to say this because I see people come out in the first year, right? As brokers, you guys, and oftentimes there's a lot of graduates slash new brokers that just, they'll spend, you know 40 hours in a week worrying about what an image looks like on their website. And whereas, I always teach time, right? I teach, value your time. Do things that are going to best give you an ROI for the time that you spend. Worrying about an image that there's a male instead of a female on your website under a particular product is not going to bring you business. It's just not,
Right.
right? Go out and go out and network at the chamber like you just said, right? That's spend 40 hours doing that, right? Not worrying about, critiquing an image that we have possibly put up. That coupled with the fact that I think, what I see brokers doing is they they don't want to go out and apply themselves the way they need to be the way they need to do it. I mean, they oftentimes just rely on leads. And leads are great. What people don't understand is leads are one piece of a multi-piece puzzle to have a successful business, right?
Mhm.
Um, Oftentimes graduates, they don't that's all they want to do. They don't want to go out and network. They don't want to go out and build that referral network. And I say you're missing out on a huge portion of business if you're not doing that. The last thing I'll say, and I'll get off my high horse, is we see brokers give up on opportunities too soon, whether that be a lead or someone or maybe someone that referred them business. What I mean by that is, they may talk to a borrower and then they follow up maybe 2, 3 times. They don't hear from him back and then they give up.
Mhm.
And in this business, it's the guys that follow up 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 times. That's where most of the business is getting done, not at 1, 2, 3, or 4 follow-ups. And oftentimes brokers give up too easy. They
Right.
have they have poor follow-up skills. Um, and not realizing that, a lead you get in today, you may close 8 months from now, but you got to keep at it. You got to keep following up. Or a lead may come in, they call 3 times, person doesn't answer, then they throw it away. Not realizing that you got to understand business owners or real estate investors, they're busy running their business, right? They're
Right.
busy running their business. So they're not going to pick, they may not pick up the phone, even though they filled out a form or left you a voicemail. They may not get back to you till a couple of weeks. And brokers oftentimes give up too easy. And then they sit there and they complain. I have no business. And it's like, well, you're not doing it correctly, and those are probably 3 things that I see brokers do wrong.
No, that's good. And I can relate to a lot of those. I've had that surprise call that comes 6 months after you gave up on one and they're ready to talk now or something's happened.
Yeah.
But I can take some of those to heart too that I'm guilty of. So that's good insight.
Yeah, there's always reasons that you have no way of comprehending of what could be going on with that other party, that the
Right.
client. I mean, who knows? It could be a million different reasons why I didn't pick up the phone 3 times. But your mind, right? Your mind automatically wants to go, dude, they're not interested, right? Well, who
Yeah.
who knows what could have happened? Maybe there was a death in the family. Maybe all of a sudden they got a windfall of cash flow, but maybe they're going to need you 3 months from now. I mean, you just don't know any individual's day is like. So, don't ever assume. I guess
Right.
that's my point.
Good.
Don't ever.
Good stuff.
Um, Finally, what words of advice would you have to anybody? Actually, this is a first, so I'm going to put you on the spot here, Bill. What words of advice would you have to an existing CCTG graduate that may be watching this and maybe they're struggling a little bit? Maybe they're, trying to figure out any words of wisdom to an existing CCTG graduate.
And that's good. And I've actually talked to some other people, and there was some advice that I was given.
After watching this, you mean? After watching a podcast?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
yes, exactly. And some of it is just really, just stick with it. Don't overanalyze it, but at the same time, take stock of what you're doing. What's working, what's not working, and reach out, connect. Obviously, with everybody that you have there, I in close contact with a lot of people, as well as other brokers and other graduates. Ask them, and what I like to do is we get calls, we get emails from lenders, and I ask them, hey, what are you seeing? What's happening? What are your lead sources? What are the people that are top performers for you? Where do they get their business? And I've got some good information from them, various from stick to a special industry, a certain industry that
Mhm.
and it can be whatever it specifically is or what's in your area. But really just take in his advice from as many people as you can get and give it a little while. It's not going to happen tomorrow. I mean, for
Sure.
some people, yeah, you might have that one off here and there,
Yeah.
but a lot of it truly takes jumping in.
Yeah.
Find 3, 4, 5 people in a couple different, your centers, your main spheres, and really seek them out. And you don't have to go out and meet 500 people. You can meet 5, one person, one business broker, one commercial realtor, one residential realtor, one banker, and just ask them, what do you do?
Good.
Where do your leads come from, and where do you turn people to when you have to decline them? And that's what I was able to get the most out of, was just a couple people. It's really it's a much bigger referral network, but the real main focus is just a couple people that I keep in real close contact with.
Well, yeah, sure. And you may have to meet 10 people to meet that one
Yeah,
that will
agreed.
produce business on a monthly basis or bi-month, every other month. So yeah, you always keep that in mind. That's a great answer. I appreciate that. Great insight. And the last question is, what would you say to somebody looking at CCTG now that maybe comes from a similar background, not in what you did, but a corporate job, and now they don't have really any experience, but this seems attractive to them? What would you say to them? Because that was kind of your deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was exactly, Chris. And again, I'm very much, I analyze everything in depth. I go over every single possible scenario and how much can I have, and then make a decision. And my mind's made up. You can't deter me. And I know some people, I remember thinking they went to class and they just found out about it a couple days before or weeks before, and they just jumped right away. I'm
Mhm.
not that person. But I would really say reach out, and if you have questions, you can get. There's so much information on the website. There's so much information from these podcasts themselves, the individual testimonials. I think all that information is out there. It is hard work. It is dedication. It does not happen instantly overnight. But for me, again, I wish I'd have done it 3 years prior. I really do, when I first found out about it. If you have questions, everybody that I know or that I've talked to is very receptive to answer my questions. And I just felt so much more comfortable after speaking to, okay, if that person can do it, I can do it. Or if all these people can do it, I can do it. And I think that's it. I like the industry. I like the people. I like everybody that I've met from do it. I think it's a great extended family, so to speak. Everyone involved in the CTTG group has gone out of their way. I mean, I send Mac pictures out my window of deer walking in my yard. I swear he wants to come hunt in my backyard. But we've
Yeah,
connected on a
Mac,
lot of
sure.
levels. So
Yeah, Mac. That's don't send deer pictures to Mac, because
what's
he'll
funny, he's
show up
gonna be
at your
showing
front
up.
door the next day later with his shotgun. That is funny. Well, okay. Listen, I really enjoyed this. This is great. I appreciate your time, and look forward to serving you here more in the future.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Great to be here. And thanks for everything you've done and everybody on your whole team.
Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate it.
Excellent.
So that wraps it up for this episode of Entrepreneurs in Finance. Again, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can catch more insightful interviews of people just like yourself that taken the program, and a little bit behind the scenes of what we do here. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day. There are just too many commercial loan brokers that don't have a damn clue of what they're doing. All we're trying to do here is better the industry for everybody. At the end of the day, you can make great money in this industry, but in the end, it's all about helping people. People always say, Chris, how can I be a successful broker? It's 2 words: hard work and dedication. If you don't like talking to people, you probably shouldn't be in this business.